My name is Ashtray Bentley. Today I want to show you guys 3 tips that'll instantly make you sound better as a beginner. So, in no particular order, number 1, compressing drums. So, one thing that I hear a lot of beginner producers do is have really uncompressed drums, and when that happens, the dynamics are really off. So, a snare might be really loud, or the kick might be really quiet, and if you can just compress your drums, it's going to be a lot more balanced sounding. So right here, I'll just show you this drum beat I have for this little beat I made, and you can kind of see here that green line isn't quite touching the top there. We want it all as close to the top as possible while still maintaining some dynamic quality there. So right here I have 3 plugins I like to use with drums. One thing to point out here is the hi-hat / shaker sound. When it's off, it's really in the background, so when you have more things going on, it'll be really drowned out. Alright? So, in order to compress your drums in Ableton, I usually like to start with Saturator just to give everything like some good gain. It's basically I'm just gain staging is what that would be called. And you want to be careful with that because you can very easily drive it too hard. So usually it'd be better to gain stage by mixing these elements separately, but I really like the tonal quality saturation can add to drums in my particular style, so I do like to add some saturation on the group channel here. So yeah, after that I have an equalizer. I'm just kind of bumping down the low mids because those get really muddy. And then I just have this compressor, and it's just barely tapping over the threshold there, and I have that punching into a limiter just so I know I'm getting that maximum volume there. You don't want to be hitting the limiter too hard because you'll crush the dynamics, but just barely poking into it and you'll know that you're getting that volume, So one thing I forgot to mention, it's really important to group all of these together so you can mix them into the group channel, so then you can affect them all simultaneously on that channel. So yeah, that'll be it for compressing drums. Just quickly going over it. Oh yeah, I will say one quick thing. I like to use glue compressor for drums right here. Glue compressor, and I like to use full parallel. That sounds great. Yeah, it's just like a pretty cool preset, really nice jumping off point for drums. Yeah, there's all kinds of stock plugins that are just great for mixing in Ableton. So number 2 is less reverb. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I hear that stand out to me in people's music when they first start out producing. So I would say one of the biggest culprits is reverb on vocals and drums, because what reverb does is it's kind of like a toxic gas, and it sort of just takes up all the space in the mix, right? So for example, snare, I had this snare going on, but sometimes I'll hear it's like. And then also one thing with reverb on drums and stuff is it'll make that hit quieter the more wet that reverb is. And if you're also not compressing your drums, it's all just, the dynamics are way off. So it's really important to dial back that reverb, and especially if you are compressing, you're compressing that reverb, and you're just going to pull it out more and more as you start to mix and master and compress down the line. So you can kind of hear that reverb, but when I compress it, it's even louder. So like if you decide to go back and master your track and compress everything as much as it needs to be, that reverb's going to be twice as loud. So super important to keep that down. I mean, half the time I'm using reverbs at like sub 10% on the dry wet. And don't be scared of big reverbs. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, and there's no rules to making music. You know, sometimes it's nice to fill out space if you're just using a really simple arrangement. But it's something you definitely want to do consciously, because you can definitely go overboard very easily. So, third and final tip is simplify ideas / strengthen ideas. So, in a lot of beginner producer songs, I hear either like too many ideas going on, or a really good idea that's not being explored fully. So in this beat here, I have really not a whole lot going on. I mean, especially if you're just making instrumentals for vocalists, or you're just making beats, you don't have to go super crazy. Of course, there's producers like Igloo Ghost and some Tennyson songs who just use like so many samples and a ton of layers, but those are really strong ideas that they have, and really you could break a lot of those songs down to a main motif, and it's just going to make your song sound a lot more confident. So, for example, right here, I would take this little arp. So this is like a little arp melody. This would be my main idea right here. As the song goes on, I would build off of that, because it's a good melody. People pick up on melodies, you know. So, yeah, you can like layer it if you want. And that's just going to make your song sound a lot more realized when you focus on the main idea of it, and try to get that across as clear as possible, and not try to do too much at one time, because it's really easy to overthink with music. And especially when you do get really good at producing, sometimes you fall into a trap of trying to make things too complicated, because you have all these tricks and you're trying to show off and make something really cool. But sometimes less is more, you know. That's a really big tip. So yeah, those are my 3 tips for beginners. I hope they help you instantly sound better. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any topics that you want me to explore, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to everybody. And thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.